Welcome back to another segment of the 3'n'D podcast. Well, I have a good one today, Gabe. I know you're passionate about this topic. So, Damian Lillard, decently controversial career in the sense that some people have him listed pretty high up historically in how good he is. He made the NBA 75th anniversary team. It was pretty controversial with some of the guys that were left off on whether or not he belonged on that team. But the question for today is, do you think Damian Lillard is overrated? And I'll let you start. What are your thoughts? Do you think he's overrated?
On a career basis, yes, I think he is extremely overrated.
Wow.
Just to get started, the NBA 75th anniversary team, I guess, is where a lot of this buzz started.
Yeah, that's where it began. Yeah.
I don't really think he. So, I guess what we'd say with the NBA 75th, if you make that team, you're bona fide Hall of Famer then.
Agreed.
You'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer to get in.
Yes. Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damian Lillard's achievements. He has a Rookie of the Year. He's a six-time All-NBA, six-time All-Star, and a bubble MVP from an achievement perspective. Now, I see what we want to say is Damian Lillard has helped reinvent the game. You know, him and Steph. It's really been just Steph Curry. Now, I know Lillard has better percentages from the actual quote-unquote logo threes, but other than that, that is who he is, and I think we're really just trying to make it seem like he's a much better player than he actually is. And I honestly don't even think he warranted being an NBA 75 top member.
Okay, so I'm gonna disagree with you on him being overrated. I don't think Damian. I think Damian Lillard is a superstar. Always has been. He came in 4 years out of I think it was Weber State, mid-major school, mid-major Division One, and he was in that Anthony Davis draft. I think he went number six. To Portland, and he's been great ever since. Like I think ever since he came to the NBA, he was good as a rookie. Then he just kept getting better, and he sort of leveled off, sort of hit his ceiling in terms of what he could be as an older, 6'1", 6'2" guard that's not hyper athletic. But you're right. The shooting has been great for his career, and I think the aside from the NBA 75th anniversary team, which is controversial because there's some names that were left off that team that I think you could make an argument for they belong, and some people want to make the argument that it's Dame who should have been taken off that list. But I have something for you. And I think you're going to like this because it's a good sort of representation of how people's image of what Damian Lillard is and what being successful and what being a superstar in the NBA means is kind of flawed. Like you're going to list off, his accomplishments in the NBA. He's not a champion. He's not this. He's not like he's taken Portland to the Western Conference Finals. That's the furthest they've gotten. He's never made a finals appearance. He hasn't really won anything. I'm going to give you a player comp, okay? So I'll start by telling you Damian Lillard's stats.
Sure.
Damian Lillard has won 56% of his games played in the NBA. He averages 24.6 points per game, 4.2 rebounds per game, 6.6 assists per game. Shoots 44% from the field, 37 from three, 89 from the line, true shooting percentage of 58%, a player efficiency rating of 22.2,
Mm-hmm.
win shares per 48 minutes of 0.175, box plus minus of 4.7, and an average for per season of 4.4. I'm going to give you now I'm going to give you player B. I know that was a lot of stats to take in, and I wish I could show this on a screen, but I'm going to give you player B. Hopefully, and I'll go through these stats twice so we can remember. You know what? I'll do it side by side. So you have
Okay.
winning percentage of Damian Lillard, 56%. Winning percentage of player B, 62%. Points per game of Damian Lillard, 24.6 points per game. Points per game of player B, 25 points per game. Rebounds, 4.2 for Dame, 5.2 for player B. Assists, 6.6 for Dame, 4.7 for player B. Field goal percentage, 44% for Dame, 45% for player B. 3-point percentage, 37% for Dame, 33% for player B. Free throw percentage, 89 for Dame, 84 for player B. True shooting percentage, 58% for Dame, 55 for player B. PER, 22.2 for Dame, 22.9 for player B. Win shares per 48, 0.175 for Dame, 0.17 for player B. Box plus minus, 4.7 for Dame, box plus minus 4.6 for player B. Average VORP per season, 4.4 for Dame, 4 for player B. Take a guess as to who player B is.
I mean, I would have no idea, but
Take
I'm
a
sure
guess.
it's
It's a superstar. I'll give you that much. It's a superstar. Take a guess.
current or past.
Past.
Allen Iverson.
Kobe Bryant. That's player B. And I think
Okay.
every single person would agree that Kobe Bryant is. A lot of people have Kobe in their top 10 all time. And part of that is his accomplishments in terms of winning and what he's done in his career from a team standpoint. And I'm not arguing that for Dame, but I'm also not arguing that Dame's Kobe Bryant. I'm not saying Dame belongs on any top 10 list. The stats for Dame and Kobe are so identical. And for anyone to argue that Damian Lillard is not a superstar and Kobe Bryant is a top 10 player all time, which some people want to argue, that is a laughable statement. Like it's just not it's so far from Damian Lillard's a superstar. We need to detach ourselves from assigning
So,
the word
so if the
super
win shares are so similar, why is the success different?
because the Lakers were a better team. The Lakers put a much better roster around Kobe that enabled him to win. Kobe played with prime Shaq and then played with prime Powell. Had Lamar Odom, Andrew Bynum, other key pieces, Derek Fisher on his team, guys who were winning players, guys who are probably better than the pieces and a better roster built around them to complement each other's talents than what Portland's put around Dame his entire career. Dame had Aldridge, who wasn't really, they had their issues, and they've publicly spoken about it that they wish they didn't have their issues and they wish they acted more grown up about it. So they had personality issues there. And it was Aldridge, not Dame, who had these issues. And then who's his next best talent? CJ McCollum? That's not going to win you anything in today's NBA when the talent is through the roof. It's much better than it was before. And the teams that are winning now are LeBron James led teams and a dynasty in Golden State. Like we have to stop, we have to detach winning from being a superstar because those winning is a team thing. Being a superstar is an individual thing. So they're mutually exclusive. Dame can be a superstar, but putting the two together means if you put LeBron James on a team with high schoolers and he loses against guys in the NBA, he's not a superstar. That's just not true.
I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's a superstar.
I gave you the comp. If Kobe is a superstar, which I don't think any single person would argue that
Oh,
he this is the comp, man. The numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. That's the comp. And I saw this and I was like, you know what? I don't even need to prepare another argument.
you
That's
know
it.
what? I'm not even a Kobe fan, but one, the game has changed, and I'm sure even long after Damian Lillard, not even long after he retires, like a lot of these new point guards coming up, they're gonna shatter a lot of those numbers as well. So I guess they are all superstars now. But he doesn't even justify being on the NBA 75th. Like to be honest, Kyrie Irving is more justified to take his spot.
Stop. Stop.
He
No, he's
is.
not.
He's
No,
got
he's not.
more All Star appearances. He has a ring too, and you know what? He even has what's it called? An All Star Game MVP.
Kyrie has a ring on LeBron's coattails. Okay, that's one. Kyrie's made
It's a
every
team
team he's
effort.
ever been on worse. Okay,
Whoa, it's
that's
a
two.
it's a team effort, and like you're acting like oh Damian Lillard carried the Portland Trailblazers to the Western Conference
I
Finals.
didn't say he carried.
He
I said that's the furthest he's gotten.
he said he's
That's
taken them.
true. He has taken them. He was
The
their best
team
player.
went there. CJ McCollum carried them that Game 7 to get there, and then they got swept
Okay,
by Golden State.
okay,
Like
all right, but Kobe shot 6 for 24 in Game 7 of the finals, and they
yeah,
won.
Ron Artest, and don't even get me started when Robert Ory carried Kobe Bryant to his legacy. But Ron Artest saved his fucking life on that one. He had a really shitty game, and I'm glad we
Okay,
remember that.
Kobe won Finals MVP. It doesn't matter. Like
Yeah, that's for
you,
the series.
one game does not make you not be the reason that your team. Kobe was the focal point of that Lakers team winning the championship, whether or not he played well in Game
But
Seven or
this is
not.
the thing,
People
like
want to use
Lillard
that
doesn't.
against Kobe. Go ahead. Go ahead.
He okay. He has won the majority of his games. That's fine. But what I'm saying is he's a very good player, not a superstar.
He's
Like,
a
what would you class?
superstar.
How many superstars can there be in the league?
Like 10, 15 maybe.
10.
10 to 12. I'll say
15's
10
a
to
lot.
12. I'll say 10 to 12. 10 to 12. Even 12 is like pushing it, but like even
You'd put
among
Lillard as a superstar.
yes, for his if you look at his career in total, not this year. This year he's had a bad year. I agree. Right now he's injured. He's out for the rest of the season, I think. I'm pretty sure he's not coming back. And this year is dragging these numbers down, by the way. And I agree. Kobe had bad years towards the end of his career.
It's not really
He didn't.
dragging it. He's played what more than 10 years. It's not that big of a difference this year.
Yeah, but whatever the point being, his the totality of Damian Lillard's work, what he's put in his career, yes, he qualifies as a superstar, and he's been the best player in Portland for majority of his career, and he's as the best player, the furthest that team's gotten is to the
Oh
Western
my
Conference
god,
Finals.
man!
He's the best.
This
Okay,
guy
Dame's
was
the
an
best player.
all-star snub every year. People like did not want to vote him into the all-star starters or
No,
even into the
you
game.
used the word. He was a snub. He was a
No, no, no.
snub.
They called him a snub. There's a reason why people don't vote for him. He's not a bona fide superstar. He's a very good player, an all-star, not a superstar.
Okay, you said it. He's a 6-time All-Star, right? He's played in
Kyrie
the NBA
7.
for like that. That doesn't mean anything. That that doesn't mean anything. You said he's an all-star snub, but he's made it to the team 6 times, and he's not.
Yeah,
And
twice from a substitution because somebody got hurt.
that is more of a misrepresentation of understanding talent than it is. How are you going to argue these numbers? Kobe's an 18-time All-Star with identical numbers to Damian Lillard.
I'm sure if you do a Donovan Mitchell comp with Kobe, you'll get the same sort of crap. Like if you really want to look and compare people to Kobe's stats, especially people right now who haven't like done anything in their careers, like oh this guy's on Kobe trajectory. That doesn't mean they're all superstars.
What's the furthest Utah has gotten in the playoffs? I'm
Second
pretty sure
round
it's not
Western
the.
Conference,
Yeah, and Portland's gone to the Western Conference Finals
thanks
with
to
Dame
CJ
as their.
McCollum.
Okay, but Dame was their best player though. I don't think anyone can argue that. CJ McCollum was not their best player. He was their second best player, which is why they traded CJ and not Dame. They still want to build around Dame. They're still trying to build around who
So they
they think
went
is their
one
best
round
player.
further, and Donovan
Yeah,
Mitchell's played
one round a
half the
lot,
length
man.
of a career that Damian Lillard has.
Okay, but we're not doing a Damian Lillard and Donovan Mitchell comp. We're doing a is Damian Lillard overrated? Damian Lillard is not overrated. Damian Lillard deserves all
Oh
the
my
credit that
god.
goes his way.
Didn't his team
He's
get
earned
swept by
it.
Anthony Davis and the Pelicans?
The Pelicans were good that year.
Oh
That
my
was
god.
that was the year. That was the year
Shut
they
down the
had
superstar. Whew.
that was the year they had Rajon Rondo,
Cousins,
DeMarcus
yeah,
Cousins,
man.
and Anthony Davis. Right, that was a good year for them. They had a good year, and Portland had a bad year. Damian Lillard's also the reason that Houston got eliminated in the playoffs. The James Harden, Dwight Howard Houston team. That was Dame. Dame did
This is
that.
the thing. He has a lot of memeable moments, like when he clutched a buzzer beater against Houston, and then when he waved goodbye to Paul George in OKC.
I'm not
And
even
that's all what
factoring those
people.
in.
But you know what I
I'm
mean? This is why people think he's better than he actually is.
I'm looking at his total career contributions. I'm looking. He's a winning player. He wins more games than he loses, and his numbers are good. His numbers are comparable to other elite talents.
A lot of that
That
situation, though,
fine. A lot of that
like
is
he didn't get
situation.
drafted to a garbage team, so
I
he
agree
didn't
with
have to
that.
start off in the hole where it's like most stars have to start off like with a losing record and then eventually becoming a better team after the rookie or sophomore year passes.
Fine, but you can't use that and then say because of that he's overrated. Like
What would you
he's
what
done.
would you rate him as?
Where do I rank him in like my league ranking? He's probably a top 15 player over the tenure of his career. Not this year. So I want to be clear when I say that. Not this year because he's injured. He had a really bad start to the year too before he got injured. He was playing really bad. But looking at the totality of his career, yeah, I have Dame above Kyrie. I would take Dame over Kyrie 10 times out of 10. Dame's a leader.
I would
He's
not.
he's emotionally tough. He can handle
I,
a
I
locker
don't need
room.
him. I don't need emotionally tough.
Kyrie will be a cancer and burn down your entire locker room. You'll start off with a happy team, and 5 weeks in, they'll all be miserable because of Kyrie. There's just look pure
Hey, this was a
basketball.
guy LeBron was pleading to keep on his team.
If we were, LeBron's also publicly clamored for Dame to be on his team. He says if Portland doesn't value Dame, Dame can come over to LA and I'll show them how much. I'll show Dame
No, I
how
mean
he can be
like
valued.
for Kyrie being a guy who burns down locker rooms, LeBron really wanted him to stay.
That was also before Kyrie became who he is now. I think Kyrie the what switch like the switch that went off in Kyrie's career was after he won that championship, and then he wasn't happy being second fiddle at that point because LeBron
Like,
was getting all the
oh my
credit.
god! But like
I
he's done nothing.
Dame's
He's had
done
a good career. He's earned a lot of money, and he's a great player.
yes,
That's
which
all
means
I could say. There's nothing else I could say.
okay, so we'll have to agree to disagree because what you just said makes him not overrated. Like that makes him a good player.
I would not call him close to a top 75 player of all time.
Okay, that's debatable. But that's because of how good the guys are who got left off that list, like a Dwight Howard, for example. I think Dwight Howard's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and there's a legitimate argument to be made that Dwight could have made it over the list over Dame on that list. But to say Dame's overrated, I don't necessarily know if that's right. He's not overrated.
Like I just
He's
think he's a flashy. Like that's the thing, man. It's the point guard. It's like the trendy position. It's flashy. They're shooting threes, and he's cool, and people want to like him, and that's why he's overrated. Like Ben Wallace has contributed more to the NBA than Dame has.
stop. No way. No way you're using Ben Wallace as the
He at
comp.
least has multiple defensive players of the year where he was the best defensive player in the NBA. Dame is not the best at anything in the NBA.
Nobody cares
The
about
bubble MVP. He leads NBA
okay.
in bubble MVPs.
the value placed on defense will never be the same as the value placed on offense.
It's half
The
the game.
league the league will always no, it's not. Great offense beats great defense. Like you could be great at defense, but the offensive player, the league has put all the advantage towards like the league wants offense to be more
Now,
prominent than
yeah.
defense. Yes, now we're talking about now. We're talking about over the
I'm
recent
talking about
NBA.
career being overrated. With that value on offense, that just makes it even easier for Lillard to get, numbers. That's pretty
Okay,
much it.
all I'm saying is he has the total profile minus winning a ring.
Or an MVP or a score or anything.
Yeah, minus all of those extra credentials. I agree. He's not an accomplished player by any means, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he's an elite talent, which he is. Only one guy can win a scoring title a year. Only one guy out of 450 guys. That doesn't make all the other guys not elite. There's still other guys who are really good. They just didn't 449 of them didn't win a scoring title. Like that doesn't take away from the guys who are in the top 5. Those guys are also elite scorers. Like those things aren't mutually exclusive. So all I'm saying, he's got the numbers, and I think everybody would agree that Kobe's a superstar, and this is over an entire career. This isn't me nitpicking. This isn't me cherry picking stats or choosing an argument that would swing it in my favor. This is me telling you one guy's career versus another guy's career, and I think the numbers point to Dame being elite. He's a superstar, and some people might still think he's overrated, but I don't. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's fairly rated.
I mean, he's basically Kobe Bryant. He's just been very either a big underachiever or very unfortunate with what's been surrounded by his team.
I would say the second one. Yeah, he's been unfortunate. Portland hasn't done a good job.
Okay, I'd say both. He's also an underachiever.
Maybe, but that's there's restrictions. Like we could talk about this forever, but there's restrictions on your impact. Kobe's 6'6", Dame's 6'3", 6'2". There's a limit on what you can do. There's a big difference for wings versus point guards. So I talk about this forever in terms of impact. But Dame, do you think he's overrated? I don't. We'll agree to disagree for now.